Hey everyone, this is Disc Junkie, and today I thought we would talk a little bit about the David Lynch shelf. Basically it's where I keep all my David Lynch movies, and as you can tell, it's not a ridiculously large amount, but there is actually quite a few copies that come in special packaging. During the time when I've sort of collected movies and box sets from David Lynch, I was really focused on getting like the best possible packaging for each movie. It's like I didn't actually buy a film unless it had some kind of slipcase, digipack, tin box sets and stuff like that. So I really hunted out some copies that you might not know about, and well, I just thought we would check it out. So here is the David Lynch shelf overview video, if you will. And well, I'm just gonna begin from left to right, and I'll just take one box set at a time. I'm not going to do a detailed review of each box, but I will show you sort of the back and the front, because I do detailed reviews of all my sets anyway. So if there's one of these you want to see more of, just let me know in the comments, and I'll be sure to make a separate video of it. So first up, we got the short films of David Lynch. This is the so-called Deluxe box edition, and there are a total of 4 Deluxe boxes, all of which you can see on the shelf behind me here. Now it's kind of an odd set. Comes in this intricate cardboard box, and it has like a thin paper sleeve over it. It's not a perfect set. It's actually quite not as high quality as you would expect, but it looks really great on the shelf. I love the sort of format with the square style. So it's a very cool box, from America by the way. But it's also been released in like a standard keep case version. And the same goes for this next one, which is Eraserhead, also Deluxe boxes from the US. And as you can tell, we got the same sort of thin glossy paper sleeve and the sort of sturdy cardboard box within it. This came out in 2000, I think that's why it's called Eraserhead DVD 2000. A bit of an odd cover title, but yeah, still really good edition of Eraserhead, and also available in keep case, like I mentioned. Next up comes another Deluxe box set. This is a bit different. This is something called Blue Bob, and this was, I don't know when this came out in terms of the other ones. This is, however, not a movie. This is a music release, and it's a music project by David Lynch and a guy called John Neff. And it comes in a similar style, or exactly the same type of box, but the slipcase for this is much more inferior paper. It's not glossy and feels much more easily damaged than the other glossy style ones. But it's just a music CD. It comes with one disc, so it's got an album on it with music by David Lynch and John Neff, and it's quite a cool listen. I know this has been reissued, so there are 2 variations. They look the same, but one of them has a music video, which is not present on this one actually, so I don't have the music video version. Next up, we got David Lynch installation Inland Empire plus Lynch 1. This is a Japanese limited edition, and it's out of print, and it was the very first release of the Lynch 1 documentary, which is a documentary about David Lynch, but it's not made by David Lynch. It's made by a couple of other guys, which I think are called, they go under like an alias, which is like Black and White or something, I think they call themselves. There's been work on a second one called Lynch 2, and it's a really interesting documentary. If you like David Lynch, be sure to check this out. The documentary has been released in other countries, but this was the very first time, this was the first version you could get on DVD that actually had the documentary. It was the first DVD release, and it came out in Japan. This is actually a combo pack, so you got Lynch 1, but you also have Inland Empire. I don't remember if this was the first release of Inland Empire, but it was the first version of Lynch 1 at least. It's a very cool box, comes in like a book style design, and then it's got this slipcase, got some cutout. I think I've already reviewed this in detail, but yeah. If you want to see more of a particular edition, you're just gonna have to comment, and I will make a video on it as soon as possible. Next up, we got Lost Highway. This is standard keep case edition, and you might wonder, like, why do I have keep cases here? This was an early DVD I bought, and this is the Swedish keep case version of Lost Highway. And the reason I actually bought this is because it has Swedish subtitles, and you might wonder why that's important, and it's not important, but you know, being from Sweden, I always prefer having Swedish subtitles and listening to the original language of the movie, whatever that language may be. But one thing that is very notable about the movie Lost Highway is that this film, to my knowledge, has never been presented on DVD with English subtitles. And that sounds weird. I mean, you're probably sitting there like, of course it has, you know, just buy the American one. Well, I'm sorry to say it, but the American one doesn't have English subtitles. The UK one doesn't have English subtitles. The Swedish one doesn't have English subtitles either. And there was an Australian release which says it has English subtitles. It's actually listing them on the back, but it doesn't, because it's just a typo and it doesn't have English subtitles. I don't know why Lost Highway is a movie that no one wants to make an English subtitle track for, but that's just the way it is. And if I'm wrong, you know, just prove me wrong. Tell me a DVD or Blu-ray release which is out that has English subtitles for this fucking movie, because this is actually my all-time favorite David Lynch film, and it's a real shame that it's not available with English subtitles on any fucking format. Next up, another release of Lost Highway. Like I said, it's one of my favorite movies, and this is the UK edition, which comes in this really cool plastic slipcase, and it's a digipack, which is, you know, this is very out of print now, and it actually skyrocketed in price. I don't know why. I guess people just weren't expecting it to go out of print because it wasn't a limited release or anything. But yeah, really cool set, and I'm so glad that I got this, because, you know, I managed to get it while it was still pretty cheap, and then it just, prices just soared when it got out of print. Next up, another release. This time it is the French limited edition of Lost Highway, which comes in this exterior plastic box, which is pretty thin, and it's done entirely in this sort of, I don't know what you call it, alternating holographic style. So, you know, when you turn it like this, you get different images, and the title sort of zooms in and out or something. So obviously I really wanted to get this because, you know, it's a very cool cover. It also says edition limited right up there. And the back cover as well is also in this odd hologram effect. So here we basically have like a road sign which comes closer, but it says different things in the three different what do you call it? The three different places. It has different text on it, just confirming that. And it's printed in French, obviously. Not gonna take this out, but I can just mention that in the box we actually have the keep case. It has like the same cover, but not in a 3D style. There's also a book in this release, which I've kept in, you know, just separately, because it was sort of hard to get things in and out, and I wanted to you know, keep it readily available, so to speak. And next up we get to Mulholland Drive, another awesome movie from David Lynch. This is also the UK edition, which comes in a very similar style packaging as Lost Highway. Got like a plastic slipcase on it, and then we got the back cover. Now, interesting about this particular one is that it has like the worst digipack design ever. Just very strange. It doesn't have a hub for the digi tray. I can't even explain it, but you sort of slide the discs in this. Whatever. Just mentioning that it's a very odd digi tray, which I've never seen before. You know, before I saw this. Next up, we got another release of Mulholland Drive. This is actually an ex-rental. It was just a very early pickup for me when I was buying keep case editions from the video rental store. So it's the Swedish rental version, nothing special about it. Yeah, pretty simple release. And then we get to Blue Velvet. Here we got the American first pressing, which comes in a cardboard slipcase. It's just a keep case inside, but still, when I bought this was like one of the only versions you could get that had some kind of special packaging. And I also think it was ranked pretty highly in terms of special features, being like one of the best editions. I don't know how this holds up today. I know that there are so many variations of Blue Velvet now, like a UK release, and and it seems like each release has different special features. So if you want to get them all, you sort of have to double it like 3 or 4 times, I think. And next up, another Blue Velvet release, which I think this is one of those which people usually talk about because it's not very widely known. This is actually a Swedish release. It's out of print now, but it's a 2-disc limited edition digipack, and I really like the design on this. It looks, it's got like the same kind of cover shell, but it's very slick, nice little glossy slipcase. There we got the back. I'm not going to show you the whole thing, but it is quite a nice digipack. So I'm gonna have to do separate reviews in case there's something here that you feel that you desperately want me to show. Next up, we got Inland Empire. This is one of the first versions that came out, which is the American 2-disc special edition. Not extremely interesting in terms of packaging, but I really wanted to see the movie, and this was like, I think this is basically like the best version in terms of extras. It's got like, it's like over 200 minutes of extras, and basically not really extended kind of the movie, but it adds like so much material that it didn't put in, so it's quite an interesting and awesome release. Next up, we got another release, also keep case. This is the Swedish rental version, also X-Rental, just something I bought at the video rental store, cheap. Next up, we got Wild at Heart, and this is an extremely nicely designed digipack in a slipcase. And this is a UK edition, UK first pressing. I know Sweden got the same kind of cover design on their first pressing, and it's basically just very nicely designed slipcase in a very nicely designed digipack. Interesting to note is, however, that this was not a new packaging design when it came out. It was originally done on the French release, so it was an old French collector's version, same cover and interior design, digipack and a slipcase, but then they sort of reissued it for UK and Swedish market basically. I don't know if it came out in other countries as well in this style, but the original French one has a French title. It's just like Sailor and Lula, I think it's called in France. Awesome edition, very nicely done. Unfortunately, of course, this is the director's approved version, which adds like censorship endorsed by David Lynch for one of the scenes, and you'll have to get like an older version if you want to get the movie with all the... There's just one specific scene which sort of has blood spatter in the original, and here it just has like an explosion. But yeah, hard to explain, you're gonna have to read up on that. Next up, we've got a really interesting release, which is for the movie The Straight Story, one of David Lynch's more conventional or unconventional, I don't know how you wanna say it. It's a Korean release anyway, and this comes in... I almost need to talk about this because it's sort of hard to tell, but you get like a reflective writing on the straight story, like a silvery rainbowish style, and then just back cover, and you're wondering, like, guys, why is this special? It's the keep case. Well, it actually has, and I'm diverting from my promise not to mention show the packaging too much, but just want to say it's got a plastic insert which is transparent. So basically the cover shot is like an interior booklet. So that's all I wanted to explain to you. I think was actually stuck in the wrong way, so it's supposed to be like this. There you go, looks much better. So yeah, sorry to dwell on that, but just needed to mention why this is so interesting to me. And to my knowledge, this is the only edition you can get in any kind of special packaging. I think this is out of print for quite a while. Very interesting release for The Straight Story.